certain Republicans got in, probably Democrats.
Those are all people that are called in.
See, I did have it, and now I don't have it.
Besides good programs and getting like important information today, the pancake breakfasts are done by the POA, and all the profits from that go to local charities. And then you also get a directory, which is the important thing. Definitely. So our next pancake breakfast is August 2nd. We are going to eliminate the sausage, gravy, and biscuits. I know. Anyone who's willing has to volunteer to make it for free. Because that was, yeah, it was donated before. And serve it and clean up afterwards, yes. Yeah, the ones who were doing it before and were donating have retired from working on the pancake breakfast. Also, if you could email me any suggestions for charities for our last meeting in October, so we can present them to the board. And I really appreciate the first two turnouts of pancake breakfast with the rain. We had attendance was down, so we need, anytime you want to just give it the pancake breakfast some extra money for the donations, because we're running a little bit behind on getting the 6,000 that we aimed for. So our next meeting is our Purple Heart meeting. It will be on August the 6th, which is the first week of August. We always change because of the Sid River Golf. So because we became a Purple Heart City, and we're going to, our August meeting will now be the first week of the month so that we can be as close to Purple Heart. So we will have a Vietnam veteran who will be speaking that day. And welcome everybody here. And our Vice President will introduce.
Good afternoon. Good to see a large crowd here today. I think you all know that traditionally in July, we have our mayor, Steil, this year. As in the last few years, is going to be giving our city state of the city address. I think you all know Holly. Those of you who don't know her, well, you missed something. I'm not going to say what, but you missed something. But I'm not going to have a big introduction for her this evening because I think you all know who she is. But Holly's going to give our state of the city address, and that's going to be followed by some other speakers, and I'm going to let her introduce those speakers to you at that time. So without any further ado, I'll just turn it over to Holly and let her proceed at this time.
If I say sausage and gravy, do you all boo again? I like it, I like it. I want to thank the POA for inviting me for my 6th year of giving this address. I was really 25 then, look what it's done. I want to thank also the club for allowing us to invade their space. Your new president is sitting over there, Mr. Henry Fitzgerald. If you'll wave your hand, Henry. There he is, y'all. Sausage and gravy. Okay, Henry wanted me to tell y'all that the drinks at the bar are free if you're attending this meeting. Is that right, Henry? Okay, Henry. What's your number, your club number? We'll pass it out later. I'm sorry that this is so poorly attended, y'all. Okay. If I can get my computer lady up, she'll be putting up the slides. She's busy. So let's talk about sausage and gravy.
Only if you volunteer to make it. You have to volunteer to make it, bring all the stuff for free, they donate it, and clean up after.
Yeah, sounds like my job.
Yeah.
Do they have to pay the $10 or they get to walk in?
Oh, no, they pay.
Clarification, we still get sausage.
Yes.
Share it.
Everything else is there. Yeah, everything else is there. It's just the-
Okay. We're still waiting, y'all. How many of you all have lived here over 20 years? Okay. All right. How many have lived over 25 years? Wow, a few. How many are over 75 years old? You don't have to raise your hand. Technology. Well, I think we got about 6,500 people online too. Oh my goodness, look how far back it goes. I just noticed that. Hey, back there, can you hear us?
They say I need more sound.
They need more sound?
Yes.
All right, so if you see Dee, tell her to pick, where's Dee? No, not that Dee. Can we turn the speaker up? They said. All right, Ryan's taking care of it. Y'all, when you see Ryan, y'all know the manager of the club? How many of you saw him in the dunk tank on 4th of July? Wasn't he good? Yes. Big splash. Oh, and by the way, if you say anything bad today, you are in the dunk tank next year. Anybody want to sing or anything?
Tell people to turn their phones off.
Yeah. Somebody said y'all turn your phones off. I'm half deaf. I wouldn't hear it anyway. Are we good? Okay. PowerPoint away. Yeah. I don't know. You want me to, does that work better?
No.
Okay.
It's underneath, you have it upside down.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'll just use the big one. Yeah. By the way, how many of you came last night to the mystery dinner? Wasn't it fun? Somehow I got picked to be one of the characters in the murder mysteries, probably because I'm obnoxious. And what was my name, everybody? I was known as Donna Badass. So you can call me that. Are we ready? Okay, next slide, Sharon. Welcome y'all to the State of the City address.
That's it.
That's it. All right, we're at a very pivotal moment, as is we can understand, because look at the outpour of the people. We're moving into some really exciting times, you all, and I'm glad you're here to hear about it. Okay, next one. A Greek philosopher once said, the only constants in life is change. Do y'all believe that?
Yes.
Do you believe in good change and bad change?
Yeah.
And what do we want?
Good change.
That's right, Donna agrees with you. So these are the three things that we're going to cover today. I had a whole bunch more, but I decided y'all didn't want to sit here for 4 hours. So we're going to talk about our city's revenue resources, our septic to sewer plan, and the Harrison Merrill Newtown Center mixed use housing and small commercial development, and that's a mouthful. Now we're gonna talk a little bit about revenue. Thank you. We recently, in fact, yesterday, had our city audit. We did very well as a city. We're all in good shape. We got money. We're good. We got a great credit rating. She also gave us a report that talked about the rising costs and the static revenues that we're getting, which is very common in a lot of the cities in Georgia. It is probably common in your household. How many people have rising costs and static revenues? Okay, to further discuss this, I've asked the very expert councilman, Bill Oliver, to come up and tell you all about it. Bill?
Thanks, Donna.
Yeah, say thanks.
I was trying to be nice. How are you? Okay, I only have 14 slides, so I'll keep this quick. I'm just joking. There's one. Okay,
Next one.
next.
Okay.
Before I start on this, about 6 years ago, we started on the city council. One of the things in the debate we had, when I was looking at 7 years of revenues overall, you could see that it was fairly flat every year. And that was even with millage rates going up, but it was flat. We also know that costs go up every year, especially in 2024. So that's not a sustainable business model for any business. So that's always been a concern. That's always been on our plate. How do we fix that? The good news was, because of things going on in the market, the marketing committee, a lot of the other dynamics were going on with COVID, et cetera. There was a lot more demand for people to come to Sky Valley. And that drove the property values up pretty significantly, right? Everybody saw that, right?
Yes.
Okay. That also enabled us to reduce the millage rate from well over 16 down to 9 and change over the last 5 years. To try to keep that revenue or those tax dollars basically flat. And the only one of the reasons we were able to do that was T-Splosh. That contributed about 3 million, right?
1.9 this year.
1.9 this year.
Uh-huh.
It's on the ballot again next year, in November, and we were anticipating about 3 million from that. And that is what allowed us to do a lot of work on infrastructure and roads in the city without spending taxpayer dollars to do that. So those two things, the increase in property values and that T-Splosh really helped us keep the millage rate down, right? So if you look at this slide, you'll see 2000, looking at the orange bars, 2022, the total revenue from our traditional sources of revenue, 80% of that is taxes. And of that 80%, 89% is property tax. We took in 1.44 million. You can see the expenses were a little bit higher than that. In 23, we took in 1.458 million, about even with expenses. In 24, 1.427 million. Now you can see that orange bar hasn't changed much up or down. And that's because the millage rate's been going down over those years, which is a good thing for all of us. Now, the total expenses was 1.691 or 1.7 if you want to just round up. That included everything that was going on in the city, the infrastructure, all of that stuff. Now, the good news is 1426 was from traditional sources. But including, if we put in some of the other financing sources that are kind of one-offs every year, which we have every year, down at the bottom, it shows $347,000. If I add that to the 1.426, we're just a little over 1.7 covering expenses. And that's the way we've been operating. And if I go back to other years, you'll see if we include the non-traditional sources of revenue that happen from time to time, you'll see that we've been able to cover expenses. So the concern going forward, this thing's getting out. The concern going forward is, we know that from a tax revenue standpoint, we don't cover all of the expenses. And that's because Sky Valley has never really reached the critical mass of that tax base. Right? So we are really dependent on some of these other non-traditional sources, especially T-Splost. The reason I'm hammering that is that's on the ballot to be renewed in November. We need that, because that allows us to really do a good job maintaining the infrastructure in the city. So that's really, really important for us. So that's essentially, the message I have for you. We've been doing well, finding grants, finding other sources of revenue like LMIG for the various road projects, et cetera, et cetera. So, the key point here is we've been covering things and we've been covering things and still been able to lower the millage rate on property taxes that we all pay. And we really don't want to ever get in a situation where we have to start raising that to cover city services. We can cut a little bit here and there, but you can't cut yourself to success. That's just a dying to slow down. So what we really want to do is we need that T-Splost, and we're working hard on budgets for next year to figure out how we can trim a little bit of this to make it a little bit easier to fulfill the mission here, keeping this city beautiful and maintained. Okay? Sound good? All right.
Could you briefly explain what T-Splost is?
I'll do that.
Okay,
If you want me to. I'll do that. in a
This
slide.
badass gonna do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And don't you forget it. He gets the pleasure of sitting next to me in council meetings, and he'll like kick me if I'm not doing something right. So get a little closer, Bill. Okay, next slide. I'm just going to reiterate a little bit about what Bill said. This is a chart showing our millage rate in our gross digest for the last 10 years, and you will see definitely we came from 16.2570 to 9.609, which we all like, right?
Yes.
So don't say sausage gravy now. Okay, all right. So that's what we want to continue to do, as Bill has been talking, because we also are taxpayers in Sky Valley. We don't want to pay any more either. Okay, next one. There are two odd sales tax options that we have gotten ourselves involved in, and we are so glad we did. The SPLOS, which is the Special Local Option Sales Tax. In 2021, we got $390,000. That's a penny per dollar on what's purchased in Raven County. They had before they initiated this SPLOS referendum, they had a University of Georgia. I knew I'd get one. A University of Georgia professor study to see how the revenue would come in and how it would affect the county. In Raven County, they calculated that 75 to 80% of the sales revenue came from tourists. So we like that. We like that one. And it came from us too, but I don't mind paying a penny on a dollar to help. Okay, So we got, 2026, that referendum for SPOS just passed. Thank you all if you voted for it. By the way, how many registered voters do we have in here? All right. Somebody take names, because I'm gonna call y'all. Okay, 2026, we're gonna get close to $60,000. $600,000, excuse me. That's great, that's wonderful. Now, T-Splosh, like Bill said, is coming up in November, and that's a transportation special, local option sales tax. So guess what we use for that? Our roads. Guess how much a mile of pavement costs for a road? Anybody got a guess? $250,000 a mile. That's a lot. Okay. Do what?
So if you're doing a million, if you're doing a mile, and you're grading it, it's 1 million. If you're just repaving.
Yeah, that's repaving, right. You are so right. Would you like to give this speech?
I would love to, but I want to hear you first.
Okay. Just
You're a
call
bad,
it.
you're a badass, I done heard.
That's what they say, you know? Yeah. Thank you, sir. I'm glad my reputation precedes me. All right, so for T-Splosh, last time we got $1.9 million. We are still meeting with the county to decide how much each one of the municipalities gets out of the next T-Splosh. We're going for at least 3 million, we're hoping for more. And that, how many road miles was that paid? A lot. Okay.
Well.
Unless we're grading. Okay, next. Okay, here's an example of what we have done already this year as far as roads. You'll see the 5 roads that we've already paved and the funding source. So these are all grants or T-Splosh. So we have paid almost $380,000 worth of roads already. Excuse me. We have 4 more on the list. Hopefully we can get to real soon. Driver Lane, LaBelle Circle, Sky High Drive, and we want to widen and repave Evergreen. So lots of money. Again, what are you going to vote for in November? All right, I'm going to ask y'all that again. Okay, next. How many of you, I asked you how many lived here 20 years ago. When my husband and I bought property in Sky Valley 20 years ago, and we built a house, there were 60 plus houses, condos, vacant and for sale, and a lot of them empty. Do y'all remember that? Yeah. It was pitiful. But anyway, we're doing much better. Where's Mr. Plywood? That is our code enforcer and building inspector. His name really is Pyburn, but we had a lady write him an email calling him Mr. Plywood, and I thought that was a great name for him. You can call worse, right? So he works very hard, and this is a picture of him at his desk up there. You see him? It's after his 5,000 permits and inspections, and there he is. He's working so hard. The median price of houses sold last month or in May was $550,000. It's pretty good. That's median price. We have 4 home starts permitting, currently permanently. I'll get it out in a minute. Currently under instruction, Ridgepole, Evergreen, Knob Drive, and Sugarbush. We have 3 permits for building pending, Saddleback Circle, and Ridgepole Drive, and 3 certificates of occupancy. So it has been busy, which is good. Sausage gravy. Come on, y'all boo. I like people boos. All right. Next on our agenda, we're going to talk about our sewer project. I have 2 of the very finest, smartest, and best looking sewer engineers right over here. Y'all see them? Okay. They're going to talk a little bit about the sewer after I talk about the next slide. Y'all heard we got a $3 million grant, right? Well, if you haven't, we did. It is for septic to sewer projects. It's through the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority. We just recently went for a $2 million grant through the Appalachian Regional Commission. We think we're gonna get it, which means we will have $5 million, which just happens to be what the the sewer system costs. So that, what does that mean? Taxpayers don't have to pay anything for it. Y'all happy about that? I'm not answering your question, Ken. I'll get you in a minute. We'll have questions in a minute, I promise. And y'all see this guy in the blue shirt over here? That is Jason Streetman. He's our city manager. And bless his heart, he spends every night on the phone and the internet trying to find grants. So we call him Mr. Grant. So when you see him, that's who he is. So we're gonna try to secure that grant soon and start. Okay? Sewer plants. How many have been here and knew about that? We had about 52 studies on the septic system and the sewer system. How many have read them? I see 2 hands, no 3. 4, 5, okay. Excuse me. So what these studies have all said is they've looked at the fact that we need this because we have a failing drain fields that continue to saturate the ground and pose an unhealthy situation for us, and we don't want that. We also have some septic systems that are in such bad shape in the valley that the county will not let anybody else put in another septic system. So that's not good. I'm so sorry. All right, so the studies came up with 3 different ways that we could mitigate the sewer to septic, the septic to sewer, and come up and fix it. And they were over the mountain to Reagan County, an aeration pond system, and a self-processing discharge facility. Myself and Mr. Grant over there and our sewer rep, Dee Van Camp, is he here? Oh, I was gonna thank him. Went to see the people at the Raven County Water and Sewer Authority to talk about this particular plan. So we talked about it. They said, sure, we'd be glad to do this with y'all. First of all, you all have to pay for all the pipes, pumps, and equipment to get the sewage to us, up and down the mountain. Plus, you have to maintain them. So if they don't work or they need replacement, you have to do it. Well, that's millions and millions of dollars. Then they said, oh, by the way, there's going to be an annual fee for us to process the sewage. And I'm sitting there going, oh God. And he said, I said, how much do you think it'll cost? He said, well, right now it's anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 a year. And our prices are probably going to go up. And I went, okay, maybe not. Then we talked about the second type, which was a aeration pond system that works well, but our property around here is not really conducive for that kind of mitigation. So that is how we decided about a self-processing discharge facility. I'm going to let the 2 gentlemen, the good-looking gentlemen over here, who are our engineers, talk about the placement, and it is not at the waterfall. Now, it's not at the waterfall. Okay. Also, they're going to talk about the plant itself, and they will answer your questions, okay? Who's the lucky one?
We're just supposed to get up there and tag team.
All right. This is Jerry and Russ. And they like biscuits and gravy, right?
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate the opportunity to be in here. My name's Gary Hood. I'm with an engineering firm out of Lawrenceville. One of my best partners, Russ Freak, is with us as well. Can you hear me now? Okay. I had the pleasure of working on the first study here in 1999 with one of my partners, Don Baker. And I think we've had I think 3 or 4 studies through the year. About 3 years ago, Jason and I worked together.
Yeah.
And obtained the first grant, the second sewer. I'll give Jason most of the credit for that. That comes through federal government to the state government. There was 3 communities in Georgia that received that. Sky Valley was one of those. And the Georgia EPD and the Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, the need, was greatest in Sky Valley. That's one reason we got that grant. The second grant the mayor's talking about is through the Appalachian Regional Commission. They've been around for about 50 years. Their purpose is to help, people that live in Appalachia, which we're living in. Initially was to bring, people like in Raven County into, out of poverty, but they've expanded into education and infrastructure over the years. With $5 million, I think this is probably the best opportunity Sky Valley has had to obtain a initial sewer system. It certainly will not serve every house in Sky Valley, nor will every house in Sky Valley ever be served. There's some that's overlooked that just won't have the service. I'm gonna let Russ go through. This proposed plan we have right now is a low pressure flow system that will pick up primarily all of the concentrated areas in town, condominiums, the timeshares and that sort of thing. And everything will be pumped to a central treatment facility here. Does everybody know where the burn pile is? Over there, the burn pile. But this has been studied for a long time. There's still a long way to go. We still have a lot of studies to get through. There's also a required, and this is kind of an informal meeting. There will be a published, advertised public meeting on this project as required by the Georgia EPD several months down the road when we have a lot more facts. But that will be well publicized and have a lot more factual information. We'll try to answer every question we possibly can. There's still some unknowns. Russ, if you will, kind of go through the wastewater collection system and the plan that's proposed right now.
Okay. Hello. Thank you again. My name is Russ Brink with EMI, and we have done a preliminary layout based on the available elevations that's available, through USGS and other public topography. And the 2 main obstacles are you have to collect sewer, and then you have to transport it to the wastewater treatment plant site. Wastewater treatment plant site, as Jerry said and the mayor said, is not at the waterfall. It is at the burn pile site. If y'all know where that is, it's a relatively easier site than the waterfall site would be as far as topography. Now, what will be there is a proposed package system, which is, it's not a stick-built plant. It has a singular modular unit that is constructed of all the processes in the breakdown and treatment of wastewater, from screening solids out of it to its treatment, to its settling, to its final treatment and disinfection. And then from there, it will be pumped to a discharge point. The package plants are generally more cost effective for the volume of wastewater we're talking about and the size. Much more cost effective, like I said, much more friendly in the size of the site required. And again, from there, we'll pump to the discharge site. That'll be around 8,000, 9,000 feet through some Sky Valley roads, to Mud Creek downstream of the course, downstream of the waterfalls, at an exact location to be pinpoint later. That'll be the final design thing. Now, collecting the sewer to get it to the proposed wastewater treatment plant is also a little tricky, obviously, with the mountainous areas in Kansas. So the layout is going to require some pumping and whatnot. Obviously, ideal is to minimize the number of pumping stations required. Yet you don't want to, just for the sake of getting everything to flow by gravity, just start clearing 40-foot wide pipelines through the middle of all the great scenery here as well. So sometimes it's maybe a little better to capitulate and throw a pump station somewhere and save a lot of scenery and a lot of private land, so to speak. Anyway, you have to get easement anyhow. So our goal was to try and remain roughly on right-of-way areas and, areas that would be more user-friendly to put a pump station and pipelines as well. Right now, everything's laid out from, like I said, preliminary based on the elevations. We have, four what I call collection pump stations. And they will all pump to a final, I call it a regional pump station, although it's a small region. And then that pump station will receive all the waste and pump it to the wastewater plant and to the package unit, to be treated there. I don't know if there's a map of it in the slideshow or not.
It's frozen, I'm working on it.
Oh, okay, well, that's fine. Okay, that's great, but, basically there's one in Valley View roughly right now sited in. And then on the other side of the lake, off of Tahoe with that major area of condominiums and timeshares. So those two areas will have their own pump station. And what can gravity flow to them via the existing sewer laterals and or pipes that's already there, we will utilize as much as we can. And then I think it's called Condo Hill. There's one on each side of Condo Hill. There's one down near the bottom side of condos A, B, and C area. And then on the other side of the knoll is like the Eagle's Nest area, I think it's called. There's one down there. So all four of those areas have pump stations, and we will pick up as much as we can by gravity and flow them, flow the customers to those locations, and then it will be pumped over across the creek on what's the name of this road to the burn pile? Knob Creek. Yeah, Knob Creek, sorry. But yeah, it'll be pumped to there, and then that final station will pump it into the wastewater treatment facility. It'll be a combination of pumps and gravity lines and sewer laterals. What we will do as a strategy to get this constructed is, I don't know if I'm moving too fast, I know there'll be questions after this, but the construction approach and or design approach, we're using what we call a CMAR method. It's called Construction Manager at Risk. The word risk is a little misleading. What it means is you do a design build with a contractor. The city will go through a procurement process and select a reputable contractor based on their qualifications only. And based on their qualifications and experience in this field of construction, which will be wastewater treatment plant construction and sewer collection infrastructure, such as piping and pumps. Then they will enter into a design contract with them to finish the design with Engineering Management Incorporated. And when you have the contractor on board, it speeds up the process of design. He knows how he likes to install stuff. He knows what's best as far as what he can access to, especially in this topography. And it also speeds up construction in that once you start finalizing an area of design, they can start ordering the equipment and the materials for it. And then they can start constructing the area that has been designed already. It is also very useful in plant construction because, as you know, some of that equipment, including generators and the package pumps and the package systems and other devices, such not can have a long lead time. Once we size them and get them approved with the contractor, he can go ahead and order them as well. And then we can be finishing design on little ancillary items while that equipment is being manufactured and then hence delivered and whatnot. So we do it in phases, and then we permit it in phases with the state. We submit plans in phases as they're completed, and they review and approve them in those phases. And then that approach, once the plans are essentially the construction manager at risk, I'll drop back and explain what that means in general, is that he gives a guaranteed maximum price once the plans are far enough along to an agreed upon percentage, usually 80%. So if the plans are 80% complete, he will give a guaranteed maximum price. He will build it in his own contingency, and that price is agreed upon and negotiated between the owner and the contractor, and usually assisted with the engineering firm, of course. And then that is the guaranteed maximum price that the city would have. They will not charge any more, and so that's where I think the word risk comes in. But he's not taking as much of the risk because he has actually helped you design it. He's had a say so in what equipment, what type of materials, maybe the routes of the pipelines that he's more comfortable with, that his experience versus the engineer's experience. Well, this looks good on paper. I was like, well, I don't run the backhoe, so he's got a good idea. So all those put together, we have found speeds up the timeline from design to construction, as opposed to traditionally where you would design everything down to the nth degree, dot your i's and cross your t's, and then put it out to bid, and then give them long periods of time to review it, bid it, submit costs, and then something comes in over budget, then you're value engineering everything after the fact. The contractor is gonna know our budget up front, and we're gonna work with him to do our best to stay in that budget and value engineer with.
On
him
the
to-
phone.
So, anyway, I think I rambled enough about that. That's kind of all I can think of right now based on the stage design that we're in. I guess we'll open it up to, I did want to say, in the burn pile site, these plants are, the package plant, I can just say, we've used several of them. The closest one will be in the city of Dillard. We used we used a very similar package down there as well, and we've had a lot of success with that. And there are a couple other locations, and they're quite common in regions or customer bases like this that don't have large flows that aren't gonna end up being millions of gallons someday. And it can be screened during final design. We'll probably, there's all types of landscape plans. And, we work in several other cities where architect, for instance, the city of Helen, we have to build a lot of infrastructure there that you would have no idea what's inside that building. And with landscape as well. And so we're very cognizant of that fact as well, and have approached those as well. We'll hire landscape architects, and we have them working in our firm as well. And aesthetics, since we worked in many mountain towns in a lot of areas and tourist areas, aesthetics is usually one of the highest priorities we have, as well as just the nuts and bolts of boring, early engineering part. Anyway, that's all I can say without boring you to death. But we're ready for any questions that you may have. Okay. Yes, sir.
We do not currently own that property where it would be located, do we?
No, we're doing a 99-year lease.
So what is the lease?
It's really expensive. The thing
Can you
is,
repeat the question?
He said we do not currently own the wastewater treatment plant site, do we?
Harrison Merrill owns the property and he has agreed to lease it to us for 99 years. How many will be here in 99 years? I think the big cost is $1 a year. I think we can afford it. Does that answer your question, Ken? Okay.
Yes, sir.
What is the operational capacity of the plant in terms of structures and individuals?
As far as volume per day, right now, we're targeted at 50,000 gallons a day. And that's a somewhat moving target, but that's the general area we're gonna be at. I mean, it could increase a little, may decrease a little, but
What does that mean in terms of supporting the number of people and structures that this facility will process?
you wanna know the capacity of the wastewater plant? I'm sorry, I'm new to this format. The capacity of the plant, so it's 50,000 gallons a day divided by roughly 200 gallons a day is the average of a house that we're using lately. 200, 250. So, for about, so how many houses is that? You're better, I'm a calculator guy. 50,000 gallons a day, 200 gallons a day a house.
Well, but you've got the condos, you've got the timeshares, you've got the clubhouse.
Yeah.
How much is that before you add anything else?
It's all the condos on Condo Hill. I don't know that number, but everything on Condo Hill, and then it's all the ones in Valley View, all the ones in Tahoe Lane, I think there's 35 to 40 units there. I didn't bring the demand spreadsheet, but we added up, what we did was we added up all the usages over the past years for all the condos, but we took their maximum usage ever. It made that the average usage because it's a tourist, you know, because sometimes they're never used and then tourist times, you know, so we took their peak usage from the historical data that we got. But it's all the condos in Condo Hill. And I think it's 200, how many condos was it? I can't remember.
250 is the number, 50,000 divided by 200.
Yeah, so that's just gives you an idea of the number of houses. Right. But, you know, the condos are a little less than 100 gallons per day, is what they average, so it's even more condominiums is what it could serve.
So my question is, with the current infrastructure that we have, how much of the 50,000 will be taken up by that?
I don't know. I was.
About 15,000 gallons.
Is it, oh, okay, you mean the existing infrastructure versus proposed infrastructure? I don't know how many around septic that are coming off of it there, yeah, that's about 15,000, between 15 to 20,000 gallons a day. Based on the water use records. That's right.
So you're saying there's 35,000 gallons available for future growth?
Yeah, it's 50-50 roughly. It's slanted 5% one way or the other. Yeah. Well, with 50,000 would be 35, yeah. When we were at 40, it was more 50-50, yeah. Yes.
Capacity for growth.
Right.
That's what.
Yeah, and over 50% of the capacity is for growth right now, as opposed to who's tying on. Just depends how much more than what's, right now, there are the number of condos that are preliminary planned to be tied on. And with that capacity, you're between 15 and 20,000 gallons a day. The capacity of the plant is 50,000 gallons a day, so anywhere between 30 and 35,000 gallons a day will be proposed or future connections, however you want to describe that, would be the plant's capacity. Yes, ma'am.
Hypothetically, from start to finish, best and worst case scenario, what time frame are you talking?
Time frame, we would hope by the end of 2026 to be under construction roughly at 2 years, you know, is on average. You know, how much rock they did, how many, what, you know, but yeah, 2, you know, I can't imagine taking 4, but I've seen it with unforeseen excavation circumstances or something else. I don't know, that dinosaur bone, I don't think so. Sir, in the back?
This question is for Donna or Bill. If we don't get the $2 million grant, does that mean we don't do this until we get a grant to afford it?
Yes. You know, our commitment has been, and always will be to make sure that we're not doing things that are gonna have to raise the millage rate significantly, right? So this is why it's all about the grants. Now, that's not to say we couldn't get a 0 interest or a low interest loan from GMA, like we did for the water system that we have now to get this. But this is really important that we get this done. The way this was designed is to service basically this lower part of the valley here. That's what's going to get serviced by this. It also allows us to bring in some more single-family homes, more condominiums, et cetera. Goes right back to what I was saying before. It allows us to move our tax base up and try to keep those revenues growing with the costs that are growing. So again, to keep everything maintained without getting crazy with taxes.
Hey, yes, sir. Wait.
I read the 2017 feasibility study, which may not be the last one that was done, but something like that was publicly available. And there were 3 options at that point, 2 of which involved pumping it over to Raven Gap. And then the third was this on-site facility. The first 2 were, the cost was 4.3 million, 4.8 million. And the last one
on-site facility is 8.9 million. So I'm wondering, obviously something's different because that was 8 years ago. And if it was gonna be 9 million then, it should be a lot more than 5 million. Now, I'm just questioning what's changed, what's different, and why was the on-site facility chosen over the other two, which were cheap, both to build and to maintain over the years.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, no, the other two, yeah. I'm gonna let Jerry answer with, after, that. My assumption, I didn't work on the study. The initial capacity of the plant was 100 or 200,000 gallons a day. It was a much larger plant, I think. I believe that's right, Jerry?
I think so.
It was a much larger wastewater plant, and it may have been a land application plan, which is gonna require to buy a bunch of land for, discharge. I'm not sure. And, also, like I said, the cost of the infrastructure to pump down there now has gone up significantly.
They were planning to spray it onto the golf courses out there.
Yeah, okay.
So this is different from what that is.
Yeah, no, this doesn't require anything except the land to treat it, you know. I mean, the package plant is literally like 120 feet long by, 20 feet wide. And the major component of it, you have other systems in the units there. But I'm assuming that the original one was much larger capacity, because that's how this study started as well, to really start getting into it. And then, I'm sure the infrastructure for the other one has increased significantly, plus it didn't take into account all the treatment costs and all the other fees you would pay being treated by else.
So, okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was gonna be a membrane plant, highly treated effluent, was gonna go in the golf course, pond and then spray it on the golf course. So a membrane plant pretty well treats water to almost drinking water standards.
Excuse me, I just followed up. So is it still y'all's opinion then that it's cheaper and better, both economically and otherwise, to do the on-site rather than to pump it over to Raven Gap?
Yes, sir. It's gonna be a lot cheaper to do it on site. The other thing that changed as well is as technology has improved. Heretofore, you were not able to get a discharge into Mud Creek. With the technology we have now, which is almost drinking water going back into the stream, you were able to get a discharge permit just below the dam. There's only about 3 places in Raven that you can actually get a discharge permit.
One more question, I'll leave it up. Can we get from the city a commitment that if we don't get the grant and you had to float a bond, that it would not be a general obligation bond, that is to say it would be a revenue bond tied to the revenues, which are from the system?
It's not a bond.
Well, but Mr. Oliver just said if you can't get the grant, a bond would be a possibility.
Not a
In fact,
bond,
the only
it would be
other
a
loan.
It would
Not
be
a
a
bond,
loan.
it would be a
Well, a
loan.
loan, I mean, okay, the loan, a bond is a loan. But my point is, it should be not a general obligation of the city, it should be a revenue obligation from the revenues generated by the users of the system, not as a liability for the entire city. So can I get that guarantee?
Yeah, we've been talking with Harrison Merrill.
I can't hear.
We've talked with Harrison Merrill about that, so that, based on, and this is still a little bit of a negotiation based on what we can come up with ourselves with these, grants, the tap-on fees, et cetera. And he has indicated that he's open to paying that as he builds and gets these things, put online. And that's the initial conversation, but we're asking him to participate in this as well.
But not up front.
Not up front. He's not willing to do it up front.
You still have $2 million you have to fund up front. So, I'm not trying to argue, I'm just trying to make a point.
It's possible.
The city should not, that shouldn't be everybody's responsibility.
Right.
Because I'm not gonna be on it. Many of these people aren't gonna be on it. They should in no way be responsible for it and obligated indirectly or otherwise.
Point taken, thank you.
Okay.
Bill, while you've got the microphone, please,
you've assured us that we won't go forward without the grant, so that relieves us as far as the building. How about the operating? Can you assure us that all the cost of operating will be paid back once we will be benefited by this plan?
Yes.
Thank you.
What percentage of the existing homes that will be served by this are currently dealing with saturated fields?
What percentage?
Jerry, can you repeat the question?
I'm aware of.
Repeat the question.
Well, I think I know it. You're talking about what percentage of the homes that have an issue with the drain fields that will be served by this? Yeah, fundamentally, the priority of this, prior to any other development, is to take care of the valley area here, the timeshares, the condos, some of the houses that are, you know, contiguous, the club, et cetera, to make sure that, the septic systems, which are aging and not performing well, are taken care of with the sewer system.
Again, what percentage of those homes have problems with saturated drain fields?
I don't know the number of the homes, but all of the condos do. And the timeshare's got an issue.
And will you publish a map of everyone who will be served by this prior to the construction?
Yes,
And will you make it public online for us?
yes.
Thank you.
Or,
A general question. Does our present water system stand up and do this self-contained sewer? Or with the development, with the increase, are we looking at another well or greater water? That's what I want to know.
initially, yes, but we are working right now on gaining funding for an additional well.
So it's a probability.
Yeah, I think we'll end up getting.
questions for the back.
The question was, will our current water system handle this, or will we need another well, correct? We anticipate the current water system will handle the initial, right? And then we are working with other funding opportunities so that we can do another well.
How much is our present bill on the water system? What do we still owe on the old water system? It was $1 million. What do
Do
we
you
owe?
have that?
A little less than half on both of the loans. One of the loans was 1.3, one was right quite $1 million. And I want to say they're around 500,000 each. The one that was a little over $1 million is at 0%. The one that was right at me is at 3%. But those loans, we've been paying those down
Right.
consistently. They were 20-year loans. One was taken in late 2011. The other one was taken in early 2013. To answer the question about the future water use, we have already been given a verbal approval to build a 200,000 gallons a day well in addition to what we pump now. That well will go by the property we own at the post office. So right now, we have a permit to pump 300,000 gallons a day. We can pump that now with our existing wells, but we are preparing for this growth.
Do you have grants for this improvement of the water? Do you have grants?
We are working with ARC. You can do one grant per cycle. Obviously, we're going for the $2 million for this. The next funding cycle, we are going to go for grant money. I feel pretty confident that we're going to get this money. We work very closely with these entities to do that. I can't guarantee that, but we've been very successful so far. But yes, ma'am, the plan is to pursue grant money. The city's very aggressive with grant money. I'd say in the past, it's not been in the past 4 years, not to toot my horn, we've gotten probably well over about $4.5 million in grants. Hopefully everybody can hear me. I'm trying to speak loud.
Okay,
You may think this is silly, but I have some experiences. Are all the pipes, is everything going to be underground?
yes,
Yes.
yes.
There will be nothing above ground.
Only at your house, Jan.
Just run it through the air now. Okay, thank you.
Another,
We looked at operating costs for this thing and will the timeshares be able to afford it or without Merrill? That's the question.
Jerry.
Oh.
the question was, that we looked at the operating costs for this and will the timeshares be able to afford it with or without Merrill?
Right now, the projected cost, the last run that we did on operation and maintenance costs was about $100,000 a year. That'd be spread out over the, there'd be user rates to support that. You pay the electric bill, chemicals. We kind of compared that to the Dillard plant. The Dillard is a 200,000 gallon per day package plant that's located right behind Piggly Wiggly if you get a chance to visit there. It runs right now about 60,000 gallons per day of capacity, and it operates less than 100,000 gallons per day. The operators are visiting the plant maybe 2 to 3 times per week.
One other side comment to that is that we have the Cody is certified to what our current water system, and he is going to work on getting certification so that we will internalize as much of that maintenance as possible to get that cost back from what was just quoted. Got some more in the back
What do
here.
you mean by package plant?
Self-contained.
What does that mean? I mean, self-contained.
There's no ponds, there's no sprinklers, there's nothing. Everything goes into the building, gets treated in the tanks there, and then discharged.
Well, what happens to the solids?
It gets pumped out periodically.
Where?
Okay, well,
Holly's house.
I'm trying to. Well, you know, I mean. A package plant is a wastewater treatment plant is like any other small little factory or whatnot. It has a lot of processes that you would build separately. You know, this part does this part takes all the, what I call solids, things that don't dissolve, things that are flushed down the toilet that I don't want to discuss. But, we gotta screen them out. And then it goes on to another treatment where it's a biological treatment where good bugs are eating bad bugs. And then there's a separate structure for that usually. There are sometimes, you know, the last one I did was, 70-foot diameter concrete tanks. And then it flows out of that into what I call a tertiary treatment, or the third stage of treatment, where it settles out all the digestible solids, the good solids, and then those are treated, and then the clean water comes to the top, and that decants off the top, and you send that for final treatment. And then it goes to another structure where it's disinfected. This package plant is all built by one company. It all comes in one big container. So that's what it means. It all comes in a package. I hate, God, frozen dinner. I mean, that's what guys get to eat. That's what this is. And it's all done at once. It's more cost. A frozen dinner is a lot cheaper to get your whole meal than it is to go do the mashed potatoes separately, do the gravy from the steak and all that, and it's much quicker. And it's really ideal if you're not serving a bunch of people. If it's only one dude, it's really cheap and easy. And that's why the package plan is better, because they work in these small applications. They work in water treatment plants that we have done for decades and decades in it. So that's where they're applicable. When you get into larger flows in much larger cities, they're not as useful. I'm sorry for the analogy, that was the best I could come up with.
Y'all, we're gonna have another public hearing where you're gonna be able to ask all these questions. We've got so much more to get through. We'll take one more question.
let's get that lady that's been, the dark-headed lady that just walked on. I was gonna get her.
The dark-haired lady that just walked on?
Yeah, let's get her.
Okay,
She had her hand up like
She
forever.
had her hand up there.
wait a minute, here she comes.
Yeah.
What impact is, the new system, the package system gonna have with the houses? They're still gonna be on septic. What impact is that gonna have?
That would be zero. What impact would this plant have on houses that aren't connected to it? Nothing. Yeah, I think you'll have a special fee. Unless you do the sausage and biscuits for the POA.
Hey, Matt, can I ask a question?
No, that's it. Okay, yeah, we really got much more to do, and we've got somebody online that's willing, wants to talk to us, so these are great questions. First of all, how much does the plant cost? And how much are the grants we're going for? Will this cost people who aren't on the system any money? No. Okay, you pass. Thank you, gentlemen. Go back to PowerPoint, is that impossible? We have the project manager, and I'm not sure that's his title, with Harrison Merrill. The council and the city have been working with Harrison Merrill and Rawson Haverty, who's here to talk to us today, for 6 years. They have been really interested to start some sort of development on their property that they own. And they have been so wonderful asking us what we want. And so we have worked this all out, and Rawson is going to tell you how that all worked out and what it is that they're proposing. So Rawson, you want to come on up? This is Rawson Haverty, give him a hand. Also online is his city planner, Mr. Lou Oliver. Are you there, Lou?
Yeah.
I see him, he's there. You're gonna introduce him. He is a prestigious city planner. How many people have heard of Serenbe? He did that. How many people heard of Trilith? He did that. He is fantastic. You are going to be excited to see this. He also won an award. He was honored with the best building designer for Serenbe and Trilith Homes, y'all. So take it, Rawson.
Thank you, I need your mic.
Yeah, that'd be good.
My name is Rawson Haverty, and I'm gonna introduce Lou in a minute. We're gonna walk you through some plans. But let me step back and say this. Why am I here? One, I've been in development business. Why am I here? I've been in development business all my life, in a lot of capacities. But I also used to ski here when I was a kid. So I grew up in North Georgia, coming up here and visiting. So I have memories of this, and I have a real personal interest in your community. It's a beautiful place. The Harrison Merrill family, I know them well, and obviously they own a lot of the real estate here. And because of our friendship and our relationship, we've decided that we can work together on this. Developing something like this on top of a community is hard to do. And the most important piece of this is what we're doing right now, is listening to what people want. Now, there's a point where not everybody can get everything they want. We know that. But the goal here is to make sure we're listening. And we spent a couple of years listening to the mayor, and this is the beginning of listening, right? Because you want to know what's the plan. We're going to share with you a concept plan. It will change. It will evolve. And there's going to be opinions of this, and we respect that. And we want to first tell you that we need to hear your opinions. We have to do that in a way that makes sense for the development and for you. And so that's part of what I've got experience is how do you develop something where you're really attentive and listening to the people that really care about it. We're going to do it. So that's number one. Number two, what we're going to do is walk you through what we've done over the last 2 years, which was to sort of get the input from a number of people, then come back with a concept plan that's very specific. But what that plan has to do is it has to take into account the fact that whatever we develop new has to be served with a new sewer capacity. So the capacity question you asked is exactly what's the capacity you need for what's here now? You said 15,000 gallons a day. What do you need for the future? 100,000 gallons, 200? So we want to build something that can anticipate the growth that you want in the next 5, 10 years. So in order for us to design the future, we have to also know that it can be served by sewer, because there's no way to develop with density of any kind without sewer. The septic systems are limited when something that happens. So that's just a simple fact, and the timing is such that with a $5 million grant, the timing of that system that could be completed, by the end of 26, maybe end of 27, it could be completed. And we could bring online a new product around that same time. So we're coordinating the timing of that. I want to mention that because you're going to be asking, when is this going to happen? When the construction start? We're not going to be able to answer all those questions, but we want to acknowledge that we're very mindful of the timing of this. How it, once you start constructing new homes in the community, something closer down to the center, it's going to be disruptive. So we know all that. So I just want to talk to you about the fact that one of the things, my job is to make sure that we have a pipeline into view. That's why I wanted to come up here to introduce. So number 2. So, okay, can you go to the first slide then? Yeah, let me go to my slides really quick. Thank you. Remind me, and I'll keep it close enough. So the first slide is really the deck we had. And here are some of the challenges that come up with any development. The topography of this area is obviously a concern. How do we deal with topography? The sewer capacity, we talked about that. That has to be understood before a developer can talk about planning. Attracting and retaining the diverse residency. Now, this is an older crowd, we know that. Well, what's the future of Sky Valley? Will we be able to attract younger families? Do we want to attract younger families? But the conversation about who do we expect to live in Sky Valley in the next 5 to 10 to 15 to 20 years is relevant to what we're thinking about in the concept today. So diversity of population, whatever that might mean, and whatever you might think is appropriate, is something we have to talk about together. Parking, what do we do with cars? Most developments are car-centric. We don't want the cars to be the issue. We want to be able to deal with that. That's one of the things that Lou Oliver is best at. You densify communities, you have to deal with cars. Where do they sit? Where do they park? How do you make them work? Analyzing appropriate mix of uses. Is this just all residential? We want to introduce an appropriate level of mixed retail inside of this. What would that be? We'll talk about that in a minute. Determining and improving retrofitting existing areas, preservation, restoration. What do we already have that we want to restore? Sky Valley's brand. What is its identity? What do you want it to look like? This is going to invite conversations about what do we want to be. And that's a great conversation. In fact, you have it every day. But we want to be part of that, and we want to be listening. So there's a Sky Valley brand, whatever that might mean. But we want to really understand what it is today and what it might be in the future. Not just walkability. How do we make sure that we take advantage of that? So that's let me go to the next slide. I'm just going to grab each slide. So these are the things. So we sat and talked a lot about these kind of ideas. The same things you're talking about, over coffee or having a meal, you're going to be talking about the same thing. What about retreats, destination? Do we need workforce housing? Do we even, if we're going to have any retail, where do people live to work here? Demographic diversity, community gathering, architecture, what does that look like? Safety, hospitality, do we have amenities for that? Scenic opportunities, walkability, town center, all these are ideas that we talked about that will be, in a sense, manifest in the plan you're going to see in a minute. We want to talk about themes and initiatives around the Sky Valley. Okay, next slide. All right, so these are just some slides that we're take down. Lifestyle and amenities. What does that look like? Just keep rolling. I'm going to stop. So these are just images. This whole idea of just the spaces, the magic of Sky Valley is Mother Nature. It's the sunsets, the sunsets, it's the waterfalls, it's the trees, it's the views, it's the things but it's also the man-made, beauty, the golf course. But we want to honor that. We want to respect it. We want to enhance it, enrich it. But that's got to be something that's intentional, and that requires expertise to do right. Whether it's building something vertically or understanding what we want to do with the landscape. So just having that sort of really mindfulness around what does it feel and look like. Keep going. Honoring the landscape. This is part of master planning. Not building a house, but how do we make sure everything fits? And one of the things I learned at Ceremy started with 20 years ago. I started this partner Steve Niger, 25 years ago. Similar place, the same with 1,000 acres. What does it look like? We had a charrette like this, and we sat around talking about what is it going to look like. Today, there's 900 people live there, very active community. We started with the idea, just what we're doing now, what do we want it to look like? And one of the things we learned was, I call it the middle out design, that the same people that are looking at designing the master plan like we're doing now are also involved in designing the doorknob. What does it look like? That ability to integrate everything so that there's some continuity about it is really critical. It's not easy to do, but it also, you know it when you see it. Most of us, when we go somewhere that really works for us, we know it when we see it, when we feel it. But how it happened is part of what we're gonna learn together, because you're gonna be part of it. So the idea of honoring landscapes, keep going. Bike trails and Mother Nature, just things, even the farm to table, is the farm to table community. In some ways, there's an aspect of this community that can also be able to, what do we do with growing food? Can we grow our own food? We want to, how do we do that as a community? That's something most everybody would love to see, but how does it fit in Sharon? Then obviously the idea of pedestrian centric, how do we make this a pedestrian centric community where people can walk around and gather and meet? That's missing here. You've got this place right here, which is fantastic. But what else do we have that would be something we've come to gather? I think that's that ability to gather in community in an urban setting is one of the things we're aspiring to do. You'll see that in the concept plan. But who's going to run the shops? Who's going to, what is it? And so then the concept of town center is at the heart of this. Building the housing components, whether it's a residential, single family, or townhouse, and getting the right mix is clearly going to be what we talk about. What you're going to see is a concept that has two phases that could go up to 200 units. That's because what we want to do is figure out what could we do? Physically, what can we accomplish? And what could be supported by sewer? And whether we do that or not is a financial question. It's also a community question. What do we want and how long would it take? This is not a 1 year, this is a 10-year project. And it's never going to stop. You're always growing and always evolving. But at some point, the rate of growth is something that you want to influence. And what that growth is matters. So right now, I think this is a really critical place. What do we want the future to look like? And we can, and the fact is, to do it right, to do it as a community, you have to do it, there has to be a process. So this is the beginning of it. The process goes over time. There's a process of learning and communicating back what we're doing and making sure you feel like you're heard. Okay? So the town center, what is it? I want to introduce Lou Oliver, who is my hero. I've worked with Lou for many years. He's one of the best master planners, I think, in the world, clearly in the United States. You don't know him, but I know him. He's one of the best. He designed community like Trillis communities that Dan Cathy did down south. He designed the whole thing, almost all the architecture. He worked closely with Steve Nagarnod and Bill Serenby. He's done communities all over North Florida. He actually, his office is just 30 minutes down the road. So he is a mountain man up here. He and his daughter work close. He's got a great team. He's joining us today. I'm going to let him walk you through the concept of this plan. And you're going to see it at the level of where it is. It's going to be this town center, what it is, and how will we start it. We don't know. But you'll have time to react to it. Not today. We're not going to go over what the housing looks like. We're just going to show you the concept to make sure you have something to respond to. And we're going to set up times over the next, 3 to 5 to 6 months. But the last thing I want to do is we've had, to get ready for this, I'm going to introduce two people here. Lynn and Tony Cernigo sitting right here, my son, are part of our team. They've got 30 years of experience. Tony's got 30, she's got 30 in the real estate development. She's done market communities all over the Southeast, worked with us. She's a pro in terms of selling housing and units. So she's helping us with the selling and getting this ready. Tony's been in development and brokerage for years. We work really closely. My son's got a real estate degree. He's working in real estate license. He's working with this as well. So we've got a team behind this that's not here that I'll introduce. The other important ingredients to this is we've met with these builders. I must list them because the key to this, to go vertical, is you've got to have residential builders who do quality or it doesn't go up. And that's the problem in this area, to get really good builders who have subs who can do the work and do it at a price on time. They're not going to come up here and do one house. They've got to be able to do volume. But we've met with some of the top builders, and they've all been here: Brown Haven Homes, Redwood Homes, McKinney Builders, Lockwood Construction, Cooper Lake Partners, Dillard Home. And we met with them. We show the plan, and all of them are interested in building in Scott Valley. But they want to build as long as they can build volume. That is, they want to build 10 houses a year, not one, because that way they can justify it. But you need more than one builder, because you need to have enough builders that can build scale and volume to make this work. And these are some of the best builders that have built work. These are the top builders in Trillis. They're also doing work around Raven County, so they like being up here. They're working they see this as a real opportunity. So I want to make sure that the builders can tell us this is a place they want to come and work. Without the builder, we can't do it. So that's what we're doing. We got great builders lined up. We have a great retail partner, Matt Barnwell, with Ridgeline Investment Partners. Matt is a young man. He owns and runs Lake Lure Inn and Spa in Lure, North Carolina, Bridge Creek in Clayton, Georgia, Hotel Silver in North Carolina, Monte Cristo Hotel Block in Mountain, in Black Mountain, North Carolina, Wells Hotel in Cashville, North Carolina, Whiteside Brewery in Cashville, North Carolina, South Main Market in Clayton, Georgia, Tallulah Falls Adventure. He's a young man who has built, developed, and operates all those businesses. Why does that matter? Because he already knows this area. How do you hire for businesses up there? If you're gonna run a store, you've got to hire. That's one of the challenges. He already knows the area. He's very interested in being part of our town center. So we have not only someone that can own and operate and help us develop what that's gonna look like. So whether it's a small boutique hotel, it's kind of bed and breakfast, restaurants, whatever that looks like. He's already engaged. We identified the kind of talent and intelligence that we need to bring together. He can actually help us master plan it. So that's some of the people on our team. I know we're going to get a great civil engineer that's going to help us with this. Now I want to turn this over to Lou Oliver, who is going to just walk us through the master plan and how it looks, and we'll open it up as Q&A. I know it's been a long meeting, but let me see. Do we have an audio with Lou?
Yeah, can you hear me?
There you go, brother.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
great.
Advance the slides as you need to.
I'm able to, Rawson?
But she's going to tell her.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you for the great introduction.
Yeah.
I've wanted to be a town planner and make exceptional towns since I was 5 years old. And growing up in North Florida and South Georgia, I could not wait to get out of the heat and into hilly terrain. And so finally, I've landed in the right place. I've been doing new towns now for a good 25 years. Can you cannot hear me?
Yes. Can we turn up the sound bar?
I think we can hear it.
But I think they can hear. I was trying to see if this would project.
It comes out of there. Awesome. That sound bar on the top.
Yeah.
Can you stand on the table? No.
It's 100. I don't think I'm connected to the sound bar unless it's just direct.
Is D around? Somebody find D. Do you know about the sound bar?
I'm trying to turn the TV up and it might go, that might be a problem.
Okay.
Any way it can be heard?
You have the audio plug in. You have the audio plug in. You have the audio plug in. You usually have a plug that goes to your computer to be able to your. Say hello.
I'm plugged into the house and it goes out.
It's not gonna main audio.
Sorry. Oh, watch out.
All right, how we talk?
Talk now, Lou. Lou, say something.
Okay, can you hear me now?
It's coming from here.
Okay. Go ahead.
Am I audible now?
Wait a minute, Lou.
Go look, talk to us. Try to.
Okay, can you hear me now? Hello? Can you all hear me now?
Does that work? Hang on, Lou, we're just gonna.
Yeah.
I think it's as loud as it'll go.
Yeah, it's as loud as it's gonna go.
Yeah, this is as loud as mine will go as well.
Can we hold it? Can they hear you?
Go ahead. It's because he's not here, it's just coming from a speaker to a speaker.
The Zoom call people can hear me fine.
Y'all hear that back there?
Ooh.
It's coming through.
It'd be very hard to text this.
Just go with.
What I could,
Um, should I keep going?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear?
Yes.
How many people can hear him?
You guys come sit up here.
Okay. Whoever wants to come grab a seat up here, because we're not gonna be able to get much more audio, but we just want to make sure you get some.
seats up here, if you wanna move up this way.
If you can move up a little bit, we're just gonna, just some seats up here, please grab a seat if you can, this table right here, grab a seat.
I think he's just gonna talk loud. There's also the volume on the speaker, might help fix with the mic.
I'm not sure we're gonna be able to get it louder. The speaker won't catch the mic. So-
Hey, Rawson.
Yeah.
Hey, Rawson. What if I called you and you put me on speakerphone on your telephone?
That could work, that might work. Okay.
Let me try you.
Just call me on my phone. We're gonna try something real quick.
I may get feedback. Is it? How does this work? How can people hear this? Hey, Ross. Can people hear me now? Can anyone hear me now? Yeah. Okay, so this isn't working.
Let's just go with it.
Generalize, and I'll just echo what you say. That's why you start, and I'll just echo what you say.
Okay, well, so let's start.
Next slide.
Yeah, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so I'm presenting this master plan. This is, our site is in mostly the valley area of Sky Valley.
So this site obviously is in the valley area of Sky Valley.
The clubhouse parking lot is in the upper left. And the proposed first phase town center is on the present flat site that the old ski lodge occupies. So the old ski lodge is in
this area right here, where the ski lodge, this area right here, that's phase one.
And then this is also phase one. This climbs up the hill in this area.
He's talking about phase one. This idea of phase one, it could be over time, but this idea is phase one. This whole project on whether it's phase two to be done at a different time as depending on the demand for this. But this is where most of the concentration will be right here. You can see the golf clubhouse right in the corner. So everybody knows where they are. This is the bin and the area.
So let's go to the next slide. And advance one more, if you would. Okay. Can somebody center this?
Oh.
There we go. Can you do full screen?
It is.
Upper right.
Ross, would you tell everybody this is gonna be on our website so they?
Yeah, we'll have all this on the website.
Upper right, even further upper, more upper, one more, there. There we go. Okay. Okay, so this will work. I have no idea if anybody can hear me or not, but the clubhouse is, of course, and can you see my cursor? No. Okay. So we have the clubhouse in the upper left not shown. We have a new city hall to the right of that with an amphitheater that overlooks a restored creek bank. We've got these gorgeous creeks, but they really don't have a lot of native vegetation in them. So we see using those as a huge amenity to this site and actually wrapping development around them and restoring them ecologically. So where the old ski lodge is would be a new market hall, and it is more or less in the center of the map. Yes, right in that area, with a bosque of trees that can be used for a farmer's market. We have a town green to the upper right of that, that triangle. Okay, so this is fronted by new retail building, which would be to the left of the town green. There would be a cafe just below that, to the right of the market hall. Yes, right there with a little rooftop venue, to the bottom right of that. Okay, so what makes this amazing? We already have a great setting. We have big skies, we have beautiful mountains, but what we don't have is the charm of a walkable village at Sky Valley. And so the buildings, let's say to the right of the cursor, those are small attached cottages that wrap an auto court. These buildings are about 1.5 stories tall. They're going to feel like the scale of a village in the Cotswolds, which I just got back from 2 weeks ago studying. So these are for sale units, and they face the creek, and they also face pedestrian streets. So the little streets that are in between all these buildings literally are about 24 feet face to face. And so you're going to have the charm of a French or an English village. The units south of the cafe are another type of cottage. They're not master on Main. There would be a hospitality component to the left of that, of those small units there. There would be a spa to the left of that that would be opposite the city hall. So if you take, yes, cursor right in that area. So there would be a spa and a gym and treatment rooms that work up Elite Drive, that then Elite Drive then climbs up the hill, and it forms a new housing area as well that is plateaued about a story above the town center in the valley. Above that are more houses. They tend to be larger and a little bit more expensive. And so we have a wide range of housing types in this first phase, and really a lot of spectrum in the price point. So trails are very important, and you'll see trail connections that lead up the hill from the town center. As Rawson said, we are doing our best not to make this car centric. We all most of us have gray hair, but that just means we have to work harder to be fit. And this site is perfect for it because it's only lightly hard and mostly easy. So it's a very walkable site for the mountains. Next slide. This is, and we'll go ahead and advance to the next one. Next slide. Okay, here we go. So this is, and if you can try to center this, there we go. That's pretty good. So this is the area that is behind the chapel. So this is an area with great views. There's a lot of land behind the chapel on a little knoll. There's been some timbering of the knoll in the past, and so there are really not a lot of pristine trees on this site. But what we do have is outstanding views for this phase two. And so we dropped in condo buildings that embrace the views with generous outdoor terraces and infinity edge pools. And those are dotted in to the site where they work with the topography and look over the most magnificent sites. We have a lot of the same housing types on this plan that we do in phase one. So it's really just a continuation of that. Next slide. And next. So this is another phase of phase two that if you put the match lines together, you get the total comprehensive plan. The cool thing about this is these houses really frame up wonderful little street intersections. There are plenty of parks. They're beautiful formalized bosques of trees. And they tend to be wide and shallow because they're straddling grades. And so not only do we get expansive views from a lot of these cottages, but they work with topography really well. And again, because they're wide and they're shallow, they create really enchanting streetscapes. Next. These are just the statistics that we came up with. We have a total of 203 units. We have those are made up of very small cottages up to more generous sized houses. But the smallest cottages with the master on main are 1,365 square feet. And after looking at a lot of European towns and especially the Cotswolds, a lot of these buildings are really small and they're very intimate and they're really right sized for people over 50 years old that may or may not have children anymore. Um, the um, the commercial center, we've got 22,800 square feet of, I'll say it's neighborhood retail because that's not a lot of retail, but it's enough to make a sense place. We've got the civic space, the town hall, the market hall, included in this. And the other thing we have included in this are something called ADUs, and that is an accessory dwelling unit, otherwise known as a guest cottage. And a lot of these houses, especially the big ones, the guest cottages can actually be built first in pre-sales, and it may be all people want, but they have the ability to have a very light footprint or one that's a little more generous. Next. So the plan types. Next. So we have a lot of single family houses. These are houses that our firm has designed in Trilith, the the starting bottom left, upper left, and upper right. All of those are new houses in Trilith, and we have about 450 built, and this town did not exist 9 years ago at all. The bottom right is the town of Vickery, which we did in Forsyth County. And there were some comments from some of the stakeholders that they really wanted to have a lot of texture. They wanted the buildings to really fit in with the mountains. So a lot of wood, a lot of stone, and a natural palette. And I think all these buildings do that. Next. What do they look like? These are some of the building types. The first one was a townhouse interior. Our townhouses really don't look like townhouses very much. They just look like attached village houses. And they can have light and bright interiors. A Muse house just below that, if you can, these are kind of skipping around, but a Muse house is a smaller house that is a drive under type. And those are really great for our area because it enables you to keep views, park cars, and make great streetscapes. So in effect, these are two-car drive-under buildings, but they don't look like it. They feel like more like something in Europe. Next. These are just some of the kind of eclectic interiors we've done at Trilith. Next. Okay, so we curated plans especially for Sky Valley. Next. And this is an example of a Muse house. The floor plan on the left shows a carport. It has an entire lockout suite on the ground floor, so that when those children come home, you can be with your children and then you can get away from them by going upstairs. Or this unit can be put on a rental program. You know, that's to be determined. But the upstairs is a master suite and an open floor plan that takes advantage of the best views. This house has an elevator built in. Next. A bigger Muse house just expands what we just saw by one car and an additional bedroom on the main floor. Next. This would be an attached cottage house, and this is 2-bedroom. And again, we're not trying to overbuild Sky Valley. We want the buildings to feel smaller, more intimate, more integrated with the landscape, so that we can create our village, but we can let the mountains and the setting take center stage. That's why we're keeping the scale down on everything. Next. This would be a cottage home that surround that little auto court in the town center. And these are very compact. They're very charming. This one's 1306 square feet. And then if you add the guest house with the garage below, that's only about another 150 square feet. Next. This is the top floor of what we just saw. Next. So this is the top floor of what we just saw. So there's a bedroom and flex room with a roof terrace on top of the main house, and then on top of the garage is an entire miniature house in and of itself. So these can be put on a rental program. They're great for kids coming home, for that unwanted guest that comes up for the entire summer, et cetera, et cetera. Next. The outside, we wanted to give Sky Valley something very unique and something that you can't see in Metro Atlanta anywhere. And so we thought of the idea of a whitewashed stone cottage, and that's what this is showing. You see this kind of thing at the Isle of Skye in Scotland. And it's very cottagey. The windows are placed in a very irregular manner. And this kind of thing could be executed out of stone that we slathered with a heavy coat of lime wash, which would lighten it up and make it feel very enchanted, very historic, but with a fresh edge to it. Next. This is a bigger cottage. This is cottage number 2. And so this has a bigger footprint. It's still wide and shallow. It's got a much more luxurious master bedroom and a big covered terrace and a single car garage. Next. And what does this look like? It can look like something like this. Again, it's another whitewashed cottage that you could see in the Lake District in England. And it's just particularly well suited to Sky Valley, I think, by the low slung scale. Next. So materiality and design inspiration. Next. We do a lot of historic materials. The picture in the bottom right is something like what you would see in Highlands or Cashers. These houses have wood siding, shakes, and of course the classic poplar bark siding, which we'd like to use in Sky Valley as well. If you can creep down to that next picture. There we go. These are actual houses we designed in Woodstock and Vickery, and so they have this rustic mountain feel. We did black locust columns here, mountain laurel twig work, and we did a lot of wood shingles and what people think of as mountain sort of designs. Next. I think this says mix of building typologies. It does. If you can creep on down there. I've already kind of been over this, but you can mix cottages, you can mix muse houses, you can mix big houses, all kind of blended up with the kind of village retail that we want to do. And because our materiality, our color palette, all has this historic rustic feel to it, and the design is carefully curated. They all work together just like they do in an English village. So the retail is really the same fabric as the residential. Quality construction and craftsmanship is very important to us. This is why when Rawson said we were recruiting a builder guild, we're doing it and we're knowing that each firm cannot do that many houses a year and focus on quality and craftsmanship at the same time. So this is why we're emphasizing quality as being really the big uniting factor there. These are houses that we are doing at our Burton project. We're doing 123 houses at Lake Burton, and they are all vernacular / European in style inspired buildings. And so they have natural palettes, very classic details and roof lines, but they also have a freshness to them too. Next. And that is all. I appreciate your attention.
These are all concepts. But Lou is designed to build many homes and many styles that have been very successfully integrated into beautiful communities. So on your website, you'll be able to go and see a deck on just all of Lou's work, so you get a better idea of what he's done. And you should do that, as well as this bit, so you can sort of see what we're doing. This is all concepts. But the main thing that we want to get to is what's the density, the number of units that is appropriate for Sky Valley in this town center, without worrying about the look. But what's the density? How does it fit? How do we deal with cars? And how much common space can we create? And how do we integrate that into the appropriate kind of neighborhood retail that you want? You know, the retail here has to be special. It has to be curated by someone that's local. You're not going to bring credit retailers in here. So you're going to have to find great retailers. And Matt Barnwell has done some great work. So we lined up what I call the kinds of expertise and intelligence that's capable of doing all these things. But now we have to come together and make it work. There's a process we've got to go through before you get to something where you can really go to something. But the master plan concept is what we want. The sewer capacity can support this on phase one. You may do phase one and never do phase two. But that's also a question of what the mayors want to do, what you want to do, and there's got to be there's always, the only thing that works is a win-win. What do we want to do? But I think today was just to give you a concept. Introduce you to Lou Oliver, who's one of the best, and he is the best, and I think he's the perfect person. I'm grateful that he's going to join us on this.
about the old lodge.
Yeah, and so the lodge I know is very sentimental. I used to ski into that. It's a complicated project. It's very old. It's in very disarray. It would be enormously expensive to remodel it. What we're talking about, maybe we can repurpose some of it. How do we make it work? To try to take that and restore it would cost a fortune. And I'm not sure that's the right thing. I know there's a lot of sentimentality about that. It's a beautiful building. It also is right in the middle of everything. So how we deal with that, we don't know. Let's be honest. I'm not sure what that's gonna look like, but we also realize there's a sensitivity to it. This plan does not show it where it is. We can take elements of that and recreate that. We think we will, but the idea of putting it, and trying to build around it is really gonna be a challenge. I'm gonna be blunt about it. And I know there's some sensitivity, but we acknowledge that that building has meaning, has significance, and we wanna honor that. Whether we can build around it, that's to be determined. That's okay. Let me do this. Let's open up for some questions just for a minute. I can ask questions and Luke can answer as well. Feel free, Ms. Mayor. We're good.
You got a total of how many, 500 and some acres? What percentage you propose developing, and what would be green spaces?
Well, right now, all the murals are talking about developing is what we just showed you. They own a lot more, and will they develop future? Maybe, maybe not. I can't answer for the murals, but I think their intention is to figure out what's right for Scott Valley, not for their pocketbook. That's the question. What's right for Scott Valley is the question we have to ask and answer together. Because if it's right for Scott Valley, it's going to be best for the business and best for the community. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sure.
They can hear me in the back.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Katie Rankin. I'm a real estate broker at Foster Realty right here in Scott Valley. We have just now heard about all this, and my husband's a builder. We've been building here for 7 years. No, how long have you been here, Dave? He's a civil engineer as well. But I agree with this, but a quarter of it, it's just too big for Scott Valley. My people who come here looking for property love it because it's a small community and they don't want a lot of traffic. And, that's what I get. That's what, that's the people I get who come up here. And it's 9 degrees cooler than it is at the bottom of the mountain. And I don't know how this will affect the weather. I don't know. But I just wanted to make known that none of the builders that you spoke of are local. I don't know any of them. Brownhaven Homes is from County County. But I know several builders who were never approached, no real estate agents were approached that I know of. So it would be good to meet with some of us local people who actually work here and live here. So I'm not trying to get.
No. Let me respond. That's a very good point. So we want to work with all the builders of local, obviously. And there's still going to be construction off the mountains. So there's lots of building opportunity. The more we build here, I think it's going to increase the opportunity for builders, locals. So we have, this is concept. The actual number of people, the more local involvement, the better. So thank you for saying that. And I agree with you. The other thing I would point out is this. What's really, we've heard a lot of feedback about, we'd like something that's a little bit smaller scale. That's like we can walk to, that's maybe a smaller footprint, maybe more affordable than what I can build up on one of the lots on the mountain. So try to find that sweet spot where it's going to provide what you need. And if you may, some of the people who already live in the community may want to move down into this community if we have the right product type. So we're going to be listening to what you want, what you need, trying to figure that out. This is just to get something in front of everybody to see what it looks like and what could be done. Yes, ma'am.
Well, I think it's great that you showed us all the different architectural types, and I think that's very pretty. I don't know how many people in this room are going to be interested in buying one of those. I don't know that I would, but I'm having trouble figuring out exactly what green space we currently have that you're going to build over. So is there any way that you have an overlay of this project over our entire valley? Because I can't really tell. I see what you're talking about with the club, but right now we have, a lot of existing space that belongs to the club. Are you talking about,
Let me answer that question.
Okay.
So all we're talking about right now is what you see right there, nothing else. So this area right here, to be blunt, I mean, I think you know this area, I'm gonna point to. So here's where we are right here. We're talking about this area right here. So you can see the street. So whether we build that or all of that or all of that or none, that's what we're presenting as
Where is
conceptual.
Ridgepole, for instance?
Well, here's where we are right here.
I understand.
Here's where the current Steil is right here. So to get oriented, Steil is here. This is down the basin, this is the area, so that's all it is. It's not a very large area, this is a relatively small area in terms of acres. So that's all we're talking about. Now, up on the hill, on the other side of the chapel, where most people never go, that level area that's not developed, is all of that. But again, it's not a very large area. It's significantly less than what the Merrill's own. We're not trying to, we want to preserve as much green space as possible. Plus in here, you'll see we're going to create what I call a pocket park, green space, walkability, things that, sort of special.
Well, and to continue that, when you're gonna add density, right now we have 100% volunteer fire department for Scaly Mountain and this area. If you're gonna bring all these extra homes in, we're definitely gonna need, a professional municipal fire department, because I don't want to disparage our current really great people, but I don't see them being able to continue to provide the services that this additional density would need. So where do you?
Carla, right now with the new, local option sales tax, the Raven County is building a brand new state-of-the-art fire department in Dillard. So we are going to talk to the county manager. We have an appointment in fact to talk to him to see how that fits into our fire coverage and our possible new development. Does that answer your question?
It helps.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this is a fire station that's 24/7 monitored. It's gonna have a helicopter and a helicopter pad and, all that good stuff. So that's a $5.5 million fire department going into, Dillard. So, yeah.
A couple of questions. Speaking of the fire department in Dillard, is there a chance that Dillard would be looking into and interested in incorporating Sky Valley? Okay, that's one question. And the other, I heard you say that you were going to hug the creeks with, small homes or cottages, new houses. All very lovely. Going to the Cotswold in September, it's beautiful. But when you build on the creek side and you put in more roads, etc., there's, more and more impermeable land, and those creeks are going to rise faster than they ever have. So is that being taken into consideration when you put all those new homes and condos creekside?
I think this is a 2,000 acre community. We're only probably talking right here about developing, 10 acres. So it's, in terms of the balance, I don't think that's the problem. But those kinds of questions will come up when we get into the civil engineering. And the civil engineering firm will help us determine what does or doesn't work to address all those concerns. I mean, so the answer is we're gonna look at all the concerns that are practical around, retention, runoff, all that, and you're not gonna build anything to solve for that. You're not gonna get a permit.
How many more vehicles are you anticipating from this concept? Right now, I think about half the population here is a half timer. And what do you envision that being a homeowner or rental property? You kept giving that option back and forth.
No, I think this is a community, it's a home. But some people may want to have space for their, their grandchildren to come visit somewhere. So that's the right question. What do you need? For example, I'll ask a simple question. How many people in this room might want a more urban, smaller unit that's not up on the hill where they can walk to see their neighbors? Some of you may like living in this kind of community. Some may say, I want to be able to visit it. And we're going to be, over the next year, we're going to be asking all of you what you want, because we'd love to sell you something here. And we'd love to help you, but we've gotten enough feedback that people are interested in this. There's a market for this. There are people that would love to move in here. We can't afford to build a new house on the mountain and septic, and it's expensive. This will be more affordable for more people. So you'll have more people live here and it'll create, but, you know, I think with all the car traffic that would come with that is dealt with inside that community. Just me.
You know, well, you know, first of all, I want to thank you for coming and doing this, and I want to thank Holly for doing this, because we have all known this was coming. We have known this was coming. Harrison Merrill is going to sit on all this land and not develop it. That's not a wise business proposition for him. So we know it's coming. And I'm so excited about having you here, because now I'm hearing, I'm learning, but it's my responsibility as a citizen of Sky Valley to keep asking questions, to keep listening, and to keep listening to all of you and paying attention. I am so pleased this is finally happening. Yes, my house is too big, and eventually I'm gonna have to downsize, but not today.
Thank you, Barbara. And yes, this isn't anything we're going into haphazardly and just because we want to make money and we want to have bigger taxes. We all live here. We want it to stay the spirit of Sky Valley. And Harrison Merrill and Lou Oliver, like I say, we've been talking about this for 6 years, y'all. So we're going to continue to talk, get your opinion. I already have a list that I have given to Harrison Merrill Jr. of people who already own very large houses here in Sky Valley, and they want to downsize, and they already got their name on the list. They want one of these units. So, and we've got some single people here who maybe don't need a 4,000 square foot house. Also the town center, it sounds exciting to me to walk around. We're talking about a city pavilion that maybe will take some of the concepts and things from the old lodge, the fireplace, the bear pole. So we're gonna represent that old lodge. It means a lot to me, but right now you can't even walk in it. It is so unhealthy. It's horrible, and it's not in good shape. But, and I too appreciate y'all coming.
I want to make sure we answer a few more questions, but anybody, just man.
You mentioned that there were, well, what's the price range of these units?
Well, I'm gonna give you an estimate. I think they might be as low as, you know, $550 and up. It's not gonna be cheaper than that. It's new construction. There might be a few things that probably starting around $750 and up. And that's a great question. And that's just a function of what is it gonna cost to build a new home. It's not gonna be driven by the land price. The land price here will be fair and marketable, and the Merrills are gonna be reasonable. The good news is this: they've owned this land for quite a while. They've got a fairly low basis. They're motivated to think long-term. Most developers come in, they're trying to get in and out, and it's not as conducive to really listening and thinking about what really matters. And the only reason I'm doing this, guys, is I really believe in this project. I mean, I'm at the age where I don't need to do this, but I really care about it. I believe it. I'm doing it because I want my son to work with it. But we're surrounding ourselves with people that really care about this. That matters because I'm going to be selective about who we bring in, whether it's the broker, the local builder, people that really have the talent, the expertise, and the motivation to do it right. I know that's what I would be asking myself, but I'm going to lay that out, that's my commitment to this project, is to do it right. And that's going to take some time. At the same time, this is a 10-year plus project. Some of us won't be here with us. And so we have to think about beyond what we want right this minute. What do we want this community to feel like? I think it needs a town center. I really believe it needs that. It will enhance and enrich the value of your community. I really believe it. We got to get it right. Some people aren't going to like this or that. But if you really believe in that, then let's see if we can make that happen. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Where can we get copies of these decks?
It's gonna be on our website, it'll be on our website,
On the
city
city
website,
website?
all of it.
It's on the city's website?
Yes, sir.
It's not there now, though, right?
No, it will be.
Okay, and then second, which side is phase one versus phase two?
Phase one is this one, which is, you know, right where that's phase one. That's where the ski lodge is, right there. So this is phase one. Phase two is up on the other side of the chapel.
Yeah, there's the
You
chapel.
can't see it. Up on the different elevation.
Right here's the chapel.
So this is probably most of you never been to, because it's just flat and it's kind of, it's all just. But the nice thing is these units will have beautiful views of the golf course. You can walk down into town. These will all be golf cart centric. If we do it right, not here, but go to Trillis or Salmon. That's not what we're doing, but you'll see so many ideas there. These are beautiful communities. People are very happy. I live in Serenity, and Lou's done projects. He's doing projects in Raven County right now. If you go and look on the website and put all Lou's projects, you can see examples of the kind of communities that he's done, beautifully built. And you can talk to people who live there. Here's what you found. They love living there. There's a real connection in these communities. Yes, sir.
I was sitting back and didn't hear it earlier, but how many housing units of all types are in phase one, the way it's presented here?
All that chart.
Yeah, the unit count has all that. This whole thing is about 200 units. So the first one's probably about 80. And then look, you're building maybe at max 20 a year. You're not building 80 at once. So this is gonna go. So realize if you want to build it and then live in it, and then build it. So you want to build what you built and then sell it and then protect that so that you can live there without feeling like construction site all the time. That's what you have to do, because there's always another project right next to you. But that's how the planning works. But we're good at that. We know how to do it. Just so anybody else? Okay.
It's a dog park question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you feel that they're gonna start the town park before they start the building of the houses?
That's a good question. That's always the chicken and the egg. Probably we'll start the residential first. But we'll be conscious, the key to the retail is the hard part. Because it doesn't operate it, what is it? So we've got the young man, Matt Barlow, is terrific. He's already come up with some concepts. So depending on the demand and how it operates, that may happen simultaneously. But I think some of the housing will come out first and then followed by the retail. We're not going to do all the housing and then the retail. We want the retail there because we think that's going to energize the community. It's going to make it more attractive for people who want to live there and buy there. And also, what is that retail? Probably another restaurant. So I think all of y'all would love to have a good restaurant. I mean, this is wonderful, but something you can come to that you're proud of. Also, some what kind of hospitality we want. There's different ways to do that. So bed and breakfast, what is it? Yes, ma'am.
I think Jim's question was how many available styles are available per space. So first phase, townhouses, use houses, what can fit in that area?
Probably a little mix. We'll probably start with some of the attached housing because there's not there. And then I don't know the answer to that question. Over the first 24 months, we'll come back and we'll answer that question specifically. Today, it depends on what you want. What's the demand?
Tell us about the city hall.
So she wants the city hall. And I think we can design one. We put a location there. But the location we put is I think it's great. It may move somewhere else for practical reasons. How do you pay for it? But the idea of a city hall and some other civic buildings and civic uses are something we're going to talk about. And there's a little bit about who's paying for that, how do we do it, but we want to make sure that's appropriately incorporated into these plans. It works, whether it's where the mailboxes are, the city hall, any kind of things that are civic. What does that look like? Or just gathering places, a place to have a meeting like this, maybe outdoors. Yes, sir.
Well, the 1,700 square foot, will we all be into the 1,700 square foot minimum size, or is that going to be going away?
I think that's what this would end up being a plan development. So let me meet you after this meeting. Love to work with you. You're a local builder. So the answer is that it would have to be revised so you can build less than. The square footage is, we think there's a room for units here because we think there's a demand for them and it makes them more affordable. If that's what we want, then we want to at least include that in the mix.
Y'all, it's 5:10 and y'all look hungry. I so appreciate you coming. We'll schedule something else to answer questions. So thank you all for coming. Thank you.